Hi, this is Lynn Dye. Today we're going to look at some of the newer settings that are out that you can choose in your Office 365 tenant for both SharePoint and OneDrive. You do have to be the admin in order to select these settings. If you're just a regular user, it just depends on your permissions. So one thing I wanted to show you first, and that is, if you've noticed, if you come and try to create a new site, it's going to give you these two choices. Do you want to do a team site or a communication site? And it seems like the old sites that didn't have any information, that just had the old documents in there, are gone. And now if you have a team site, it's going to look something like this. Or if you get a new site, it's going to look something like this, where you have to click over here to get to your documents and to the other sections of that site. And some of you just may want to have a plain site where you don't have to click again. So I'm going to show you that setting. We're going to look at some sharing settings. We're going to make sure that you have the new OneDrive sync client chosen, so you'll always get the latest next-gen sync client. So to get started, you go to your admin center, and then you don't go to these settings. You need to go down here to the admin settings. And first we're going to go to SharePoint, and then when you get there, you want to click on settings, and we're not going to go over all of these, but just a few. Site collection and storage, I make that automatic. Here's this new OneDrive for business, and click the new experience because you do want to use that next-gen sync client. And you can show or hide the sync button on for your users, and it just depends on how you want to manage them. I'm going to show it for mine. And then sync client for SharePoint. This is newer. You want to start the new client there, and this makes it very easy. You don't have to download any software. It just does it for you. Lists and libraries, I just leave that like that. And then we're going to come down here to the site creation. And this is what I was talking about before. When you want to create a new site, the default is the site with a group or classic. But I want to do a classic site where I just want to have my documents and I don't want to have any news or anything like that. So when you're done making your selections, you just come down here and click OK. To save that, you will need to log back out and then back in, and then you'll be able to get that classic experience back again. You do need to remember to do that. Next, we're going to look at sharing, and there's different choices here. You can be very strict and say don't allow it at all outside your organization, and then allow with external users that already exist in your directory, and you would have to set it up as the admin, and allow users to invite and share with authenticated external users. And you can use the same thing, only with anonymous links, and you can also control the links length of time. You can do that right there, and this would be for your whole tenant wide, not just for you. You can change here if you only want people to be able to view files and not edit them, and that's that setting there. Who can share outside your organization? This is something you would have to set up elsewhere in your admin panel to let selected users have more permissions to share. So I'm leaving that blank right now. And then these are the default link types. And I'm going to say anyone with the link for right now. That's something that you can change. They're very intricate settings here for sharing. There's a lot to do and a lot to think about. And if you don't know what something means, just type in limit external sharing using domains into a browser, and it'll tell you what it means. And it's very easy to figure that out. So that is the sharing part. I've logged out and logged back in again, and I did have to switch browsers. Even though I logged out of my Edge browser, it kept remembering who I was as far as making a new SharePoint site, the classic version. So I logged into Firefox, and I'm clicking on create a site, and now it's giving me the old, there's just a one-liner, and you create your site, and then that's it. So I don't want to create one right now. If you want just your basic kind of site and you don't want these kinds of things, then that's how you do that. The last thing I wanted to show you was this new support, and that happened in June, and that is for the pound sign and the percentage sign. If you have a new tenant, like if you get a new Office 365 account starting in June, it will be enabled by default. But if you want to get it before then, it will be coming eventually this summer. You do have to do some PowerShell stuff, and I don't really get into PowerShell, but just know if you get a new tenant, you've got it already, and if you don't, it'll be coming soon. You won't have to worry about at least these two characters, and those are a lot of the problems people have when they move over to Office 365. So that's all I'm sharing with you today. Thanks so much for joining me.